Did the president know about this in detail and work at all with Tim Scott on this? And does he expect Democratic senators to try to go in, roll up their sleeves and have input on this and get it out of committee?
Yes, the president, the administration, we did work very closely with Senator Scott. This is a great bill. It's one that closely tracks the president's executive order. It's very strong. It's fair. It's even-handed. We hope to see it pass. We hope Democrats will come and join us in this endeavor, because all too often they play partisan politics. And the bill that the Democrats have put out is an absolute non-starter. For instance, they roll back qualified immunity, something that's existed for a very long time in this country. And the Harlow Court, when the Supreme Court ruled on in that case, said, look, if with qualified immunity, there are big social costs if you don't have it there, namely police officers pulling back, not patrolling the streets. That's an example and something that would be devastating for this country. We see what's happening in Seattle, and we see the law and order issues we've had across the country when there aren't enough law enforcement officers.
And adding to the unease there tonight, the head of the police union is sounding off against the charges brought by the Fulton County District Attorney against Rolfe and Brosnan. Let's discuss the case from a law enforcement perspective with former Washington, D.C. police detective, attorney, and Fox News contributor Ted Williams, and the former assistant police chief of DeKalb County, Georgia, John Pearson. Gentlemen, welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, so, another familiar name we all know here, Andy McCarthy to us, writes in the National Review under this headline, Brooks shooting, the political prosecutor caves into the mob. He says this. He describes it as a hyper-political county prosecutor under the corruption microscope as he desperately seeks re-election, filing trumped-up, mob-driven charges before the actual investigators have a chance to finish their work. He says the prosecutor's press conference was theater of the absurd. And Ted, I saw your reaction after this was rolled out yesterday and Mr. Howard spoke. You didn't seem too convinced of what he was doing. Now that you've had a day to think about it, how do you feel tonight?
Well, I feel clearly the same way, and the way I felt last night, it was unfortunate the way DA Paul Howard rolled out these charges. What normally happens, Shannon, when a police officer is accused of something, the police officer is put on administrative leave pending the outcome of an investigation. This did not happen here. Rolfe immediately was fired by the mayor, Mayor Bottoms, Lance Bottoms, and the other individual was put on leave. But the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, who is conducting this investigation, was not allowed to permitted to finish the investigation before these officers were charged. And the men and women of that police department sees this, and they believe it's clearly unfair.
Well, and to that point, the American Thinker writes about how officers must be feeling now. Many of them says police officers understand what's happening here. They're being told that they will be presumed guilty anytime they shoot someone in what they believe is a life or death situation. This presumption will escalate if the person shot is black or if the DA is hyper-political or corrupt. They understand that the DA just turned them into sitting ducks. John, is that overstating how law enforcement feels right now?
No, I don't think it is at all. You know, the Atlanta Police Department and all law enforcement are at a place of uncertainty. The rules of the game have just been altered and changed, and the officers don't know what they are now. I think that if we're going to be able to move forward from this, you know, the district attorney, Mr. Howard, the mayor, the new chief, they need to sit down with the officers and make sure that they understand how they're going to be evaluated. They've just, it's like, as Ted said, they've just changed the way that they do things. Officers are normally, would be placed on administrative leave. The two investigations would run simultaneously, the criminal investigation and the internal affairs investigation. And then once some findings are brought forth, then the determination would be